DJ Clark Kent has passed away, and the sneaker world is mourning. We're going to talk about his legacy this time on Fire Footwear. Welcome to Fire Footwear, everybody. As always, I'm your host, Matt Freites. I hope that this finds you well, and I want to thank you for coming back to this channel. I also want to, at the start, thank everybody who is new who came here from my chat with Chris from Weartesters last week. It was really fun, and I'm glad so many people enjoyed it. But today, we're going to talk about the passing of DJ Clark Kent. There are just some people in the sneaker world that raise higher than other people. And there are people over the course of time that have sort of sat on what I think a lot of people would say is the Mount Rushmore of sneaker icons. DJ Clark Kent has been around this game for a very, very long time. And now that he is gone from this earth, there are a lot of people who are mourning his legacy and a lot of people who are trying to point out all of the positivity that he added to the culture. If you think about hip hop and sneakers, they have had a connection long before Jordan Brand. We're talking about late 70s, early 80s. And because of that, people like DJ Clark Kent have been able to become icons in the sneaker game. And it wasn't really until Run DMC in 1986 with their association with Adidas superstars and also becoming the first hip hop artist to actually work with a sneaker brand that has allowed sneakers to become part of this subculture known as hip hop culture that I think has been a huge part and certainly a fabric that is woven into sneaker culture. And in the late 80s and early 90s, DJ Clark Kent kind of rose through the hip hop community. And as he became bigger and bigger with his associations with Jay-Z and so forth, people started to notice his music. And as his music started to become more popular, people started to notice that he was wearing a lot of heat to a lot of his concerts and a lot of his gigs. And that became something that was synonymous with him and his music. And over the course of time, DJ Clark Kent started to be known for sneaker collecting. And you could argue, really, that he is really the person who started it on the highest level. He became about sneaker history. He wanted to preserve that history. And as we moved into the late 90s and into the 2000s, that history became deeper and deeper. Obviously, pre-Jordan Brand, the sneaker history was, I don't want to say forgotten, but it certainly wasn't as rich as it is today. And when you talk about the late 90s, now we've had 15 years almost of Jordan Brand history. And there is so much that went along with that. The community kept growing and collecting kept growing. And DJ Clark Kent was 100% synonymous with that. The other element that DJ Clark Kent brought to the table was the idea of authenticity. And I think today, when we think of authenticity, we think of real versus fakes in terms of retail and fake shoes. But I don't think that's what he was talking about. I believe that DJ Clark Kent represented authenticity to yourself within the culture. I think a lot of people today, and it's existed forever, have gone with hype. They're going with the trends. This is what I should be wearing because this is what the culture tells me. And I think that DJ Clark Kent was about the opposite, that you should wear what you like, wear what makes you feel good. Now, we all know that sneakers is embedded in looking flyer than other people, to be seen as cool. That's the way I grew up. And so DJ Clark Kent saying something that was the direct antithesis of that, even though I'm sure he was known for wearing only heat and having the best collection, that authenticity is something that we can still strive for today. I think it's extremely important that we all try and be ourselves within this culture. And sure, we're going to get caught up in hype. We're going to get caught up in trends because we still want to feel relevant in this culture. But I think if you look back at the history and you look back at what DJ Clark Kent has meant to the culture, I think that's truly what he was going for. Of course, DJ Clark Kent has been known for a ton of collaborations, a ton of designs, and really he has been associated with some of the hottest shoes of all time. And if you really start to break it down, his 112 design shoes, those neon colors, the elephant print, obviously the elephant print is iconic at this point, but he put that on a lot of really iconic Nike models, the SB Dunk Low, the Air Force One. He even added his style to non-Nike collaborations, the Puma Clyde, the Adidas Superstar, and these are shoes that have been known well before Jordan Brand. And I think if there is a shoe that he is associated with that maybe wasn't a direct design by him, we're talking about the LeBron 8 South Beach, probably the most popular LeBron of all time, at least arguably in my opinion. And so I think it's obvious that somebody like DJ Clark Kent has cemented themselves near the top in terms of sneaker icons. I talked about Nigo a couple weeks ago and how he would be considered on the Mount Rushmore, at least of streetwear, possibly even sneakers with Bape. And I think DJ Clark Kent is similar in that regard. Maybe some people don't have him on the Mount Rushmore, but I think he certainly is close. And when you look at his overall legacy, what is it? I think a lot of people see him and maybe saw him when he was alive as almost a father figure within sneakers. And maybe that sounds silly, but think about it. He's somebody whose opinions still kind of matter today. And while his opinions maybe don't matter as much to younger people, and while maybe his influence wasn't as big as it once was, you know that this podcast and this YouTube channel is really big about curating the history of sneakers. I want people to remember where we came from and how we got here. And even if you didn't live that history, knowing something about DJ Clark Kent, in my opinion, is important to understand where we are and where we're going in sneakers. How do you feel about the position that DJ Clark Kent holds in the sneaker culture? And how do you feel about the history that he tried to curate? Let me know down in the comments, or you can call the Fire Footwear hotline, area code 202-643-9170. I hope this finds everybody well. I hope this finds everybody safe, and I'll talk to you next time. This is Fire Footwear.